So you want a better D&D character? Well, here are 5 questions you should ask yourself, or rather ask your character, to make them feel more rooted in your fantasy world or setting or whatever. The first thing you want to do is dive into your past. So question number 1 is to ask yourself, where do you come from? Now, in reality, this can be broken down into a lot of smaller pieces, but overall, the goal is to create a clear picture of everything that led to the moment you started the adventure. So to dive a little deeper into this first part here are some questions to consider. Who were your parents? Who were your siblings? Was your childhood good? Was it bad? Was it both? Were you ever in love? Did you ever have a best friend? How many years have you lived up to the point of the adventure started, and what did you do in those years? And what were you doing right before you met the party? These questions establish everything your character has done in their life so far. These questions will start to make you think about how your character acts and how they move and how they even feel to you. And understanding who they used to be is how you start to figure out how you're going to roleplay them, because after all, you can't understand your future if you don't understand your past. Yes, that was a Chinese proverb just for you, or something, I think. Now, the second question to ask is, what do you want right now? Now, this is big because this is essentially the driving force of every decision your character makes. If you want to become the best bard in history, you're going to want to play some shows, write some stories, learn from the best, maybe even go to the best bard colleges if that's a thing. If you want revenge for a family death, you're not going to let anything get in your way, and you're not going to stop until you have that payback. So think about everything your character has done and what led them to this point right now, and what that means for them and their decisions in the near future. Next is to ask yourself, what is your biggest fear? Something in your past affected you deeply. Now, that doesn't have to be a person. It can be an intangible thing. Maybe you are afraid of fires or orcs, or you're afraid of storms because of a crazy event in your hometown, or maybe you're just afraid of being alone. Whatever the case, everyone has a fear. Think about the things that you fear in your life right now. They came from somewhere, so consider what your character feels and what events shaped who they are right now, especially the things they fear the most, because those fears are going to shape your role-playing and how you react to certain situations. Now, the next one is strange, and that's to ask yourself, what do you need? Now, this is very different from what you want, and let me explain. Asking yourself what you want comes from a place of desire, a place of ego. But asking what your character needs is big in shaping how you see the ideal version of them, hopefully one day down the line. This question guides the character arc. So your character might want revenge for the death of everyone in his castle, but what he needs is to let go of hate, let go of revenge. Or in a different example, your character wants to abuse substances because they want to forget the death they caused when fighting as a soldier. These come from a place of fear and desire, but what the character needs is to forgive himself. He needs to stop using drugs to numb himself. Your character might want to be the best bard in the world, but what they need is to realize that that may never happen and is subjective, and to learn to fall in love with the art they create instead. This question sort of guides the future of your character and helps when thinking about how they will be at the end of the story. Now, before we get to the last tip, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Describe. The best way to put it, Describe is a library of maps, sounds, descriptions, and more. There are over 13,000 places, monsters, spells, items, characters, and more already made for you. So if you're like me, you've ever run out of time, check out Describe, because they make it easy for you to find a description, click through their sound library They make it easy for you to find a description, click through their sound library, add the ambience, throw in some music, find a map, and be ready for your game by putting your notes into their platform and have it all ready, all in one spot. If you don't believe me, check out the link in the description and use code FANTASYFORGE at checkout. And the last question is to ask yourself, how do you see the world? In other words, what is your moral outlook on the great world, the bigger picture? If you grew up as a noble, your outlook on the world will be one of pleasure and decadence and privilege. But if you grew up on the streets, your view of the world will be that it is harsh and unforgiving. And if you grew up as a noble and a crazy uncle usurped your throne, well, you will see the world as cruel and unfair, and probably a combination of all three. This will inform how you interact with people, how you talk to people, how you communicate with a noble will be different than how you communicate with a peasant or an urchin. Think about how you see the world, how you see the world powers, the societal structure, all of it. Is life cruel? Is life good? Is it somewhere in between? How do you see the military? How do you see farmers? All of this informs the larger day-to-day interactions when you're role-playing. Now, at the end of it all, your character comes from years of history. These questions help give you a bigger picture look at those years stretched out in simple bullets. So I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments what other questions you ask or what you do to build better characters. As always, thank you so much for watching. Forge on, my friends, and we'll see you next time, adventurers.